if he's contradicting himself. Right. There's a contradiction. Well, there's not a contradiction. It's just us. We just don't understand. We just don't understand. And when you don't have the right answer, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to ask God, what's going on? What's up? Help me understand what's going on. Because I'm reading this, and I'm believing I'm understanding this. But I go over here, and I read something that seems to contradict what you said over there. So what's up? And I got to stay here until you answer me. I'm not being smart about it. I just need to know so I can walk right.
That's right.
You know, I need to know so I can believe right. I just need to know so I can talk right. I need to know so when I'm talking, I'm not confusing folk about what you meant by what you said. They don't need to hear my opinion. They don't need to hear what I think. They need to hear what thus saith the Lord, what God said, and why He said that. You know. So anyway, I'm gonna slow up a little bit because I got to reserve some of this information, some of this thinking for another time. But back to my original comment with June and dancing, and just the thought that sparked in my mind was grace towards those who don't understand that, and how do you move around those folks and then bring them out of that place where they are in their mind that think, oh, you Christians don't dance. I've heard it. You know, you don't be in no dance floor. You know, you don't do this, you don't do that, you don't do the other thing.
And don't dare to go in the liquor store.
Well, yeah, I mean, a whole lot of do's and don'ts from and I'm talking safe. I ain't talking about what the world says.
Them the one that's due to judge it.
So back to my John 2:15, 1 John. We said, love not the world. There's a question that needs to be asked. What is the world?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the world?
Yeah.
Because if dancing is worldly, or the world, and you are there doing it, and you say, I like dance, well, I like it. I don't love it. I just like it a lot. You could try to escape with that kind of comment. But they ain't going to fly for a lot of folk.
No.
Right? They ain't going to fly with a lot of them that believe that you can't do this, and you oughtn't do this, and why are you doing this? So discernment becomes critical.
Yeah. Big time.
When you're in a place, in an atmosphere where you feel the liberty to do this.
Yes.
You're fine. I mean, you already know that God smiling on you, man, which He love it to Himself. But you got them other stiff folks, I could call them that just for the sake of saying things. You know, to say, no. You know, I'm offended. So we'll go back to the scripture. Paul said, if you mean to offend my brother, I will not eat meat while I'm by the world offended. It's in First Corinthians, right? Marvel?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you have to put that in your mind when you're doing things, when you're thinking things, when you're walking, when you're acting out things. You have to consider your audience. You have to consider your audience. It's not that you don't have the truth, but see, this is why the word is a living word, and that's why the word said the law to kill it. But the Spirit giveth life. Because you go right in the word, the written word, and find something that would suggest to somebody you ought not do that, or tell them that this is wrong. But now you don't have the mind of God. You don't have His intent. You don't know His motive. You don't know nothing. All you know is what's written. But you got to go way beyond what's written. I know I'm on the right path with this, because we're here. And that's not me. It's just us. I know what God's showing us about this relationship we had with Him. Why it's critical that we just don't settle for what we're reading in the sense of what we're reading, but get His mind. Now, He already said we have His mind, which means our mind needs some changing. Right? To agree that we do have His mind. You follow what I'm saying? And then what does that mean to have His mind? What does that look like to have the mind of Christ? Because you could conclude that, hey, you know, I can do anything because I got the mind of Christ. But you really can't do anything. You can't do you. You can always do you. You can always do what you know is right to do, or you're able to do. You can pull a word like, look, love, you're supposed to serve one another. You're supposed to do you. You're supposed to serve. And that's what Jesus said He came to do. He came to serve. He didn't come to be served, but He came to serve. There's a whole lot of false stuff in church. Not in God, obviously, but in religion, in church. There's a whole bunch. of missing interpretations of God in the church, in the congregations, put it that way, not in the church, not in Christ, but in congregations. There are a whole lot of missing things that we do, and that we teach, and that we kind of show people, and it's not of God. It's not God. It's not that. It's just not His spirit. It's not the ways of God. That's not His way. If I was at a. Now I know this is not gonna sound right. This is not gonna. A lot of people not gonna embrace this. Not gonna like this. But it's the truth, and I'm saying it here because I can say it here. Now, if I was someplace else, I may not say this because wisdom said, "Don't say this." Not because it's not true. Not because I'm afraid. It's not because I'm fearful. It's because it's just not wise to say this right now or to expose this fallacy right now. That's why the scripture says, "Be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove." You just can't do anything. You just can't. You just got to know when to say what God leading you to say. You got to know when He wants to say something, not when you want to expose something or do something, but when He wants to do it.
I got it.
I was out of service Wednesday and Thursday of last week, the 20th and the 21st, whatever that. That's the Wednesday week for my birthday. I was at a conference in Virginia, and there was one of the pastors there that was one of the speakers, and he had his armor bearer with him, and he sat behind him. The armor bearer did, and I sat behind both of them. But it just caught my eye. I didn't really pay attention initially until they called on him to get up and speak. And his armor bearer, and he didn't call him that, but I'm thinking this is what he was, called himself to be. He took his Bible, his water, took all the stuff up to the pulpit before him and sat on the pulpit for him before the guy began to speak. And the guy spoke, and he spoke well. He did, but I'm looking at this relationship here, and I'm looking at after he spoke, he went up and got his Bible. He was very much in touch, and he moving. His eyes were moving with the guy, like, what do you need? What do you want? How can I help you? How can I serve you? And he made sure he didn't drop the ball. He came down when he got his towel. He went, whatever. Did all of whatever.
Right.
And I'm looking at this and I'm wondering in my mind, where did this come from? Who started this? Where do you get this idea from that this is biblical? This is something that God would want to do? This is something that's godly to do? Did the example that Jesus led, did he have armor bearers? Did he have folks treating him like that? No. So why are you thinking that this is a right thing to do? And in your congregation, wherever you are, your people that you are leading, what are you telling them? Do you understand the example that just said? Do you understand what you're saying to them by doing this and by allowing this? What's up with that? See, now that's another one of them subtleties that the adversary produces that if you're not wise, you'll be caught up in a heartbeat.
Pride.
Yes, it's all pride.
Yeah. Where a while back, some of it came from, remember Jonathan and David?
Yeah.
How close they were. Minister was preaching on that about armor bearing and giving that as an example.
Okay.
So,
but you see, okay, that's fine.
I'm just saying that's
but
another
now
thing.
But now you are taking the thought and intent of the scripture out of context.
Right.
It has nothing to do with what God would have us to do as sons and daughters of the Most High God.
Right.
That's not proper.
Yeah.
That's not sound doctrine. That's not the way this is done. And there's a whole lot. That's just one example. I could probably come with all kinds of examples of things that are done in the religious community and the Christian community that really does not line up with the thought and intent in the heart of God.
Right.
Why he's doing what he's doing. Now, another example. This is something we're going to think about because of the time in which we live in. What's happening in the world, the society in which we live in. The gay and lesbian community are, they're kind of blasted, right, a lot. And, we don't talk about other sins. We just I can't say we, but you understand where I'm going.
Right, right.
The thought is that they are really outside of the grace of God, outside of the bound, outside of God, what God permits, outside of the will of God. There's no way I can be a part of them. There's no way I can support or say anything to them. There's no way I can, agree with that. And all that's fine. That's fine. But the question now becomes, so how do you really, really reach them? And don't single them out. Why do you reach anybody?
Right.
See, because they're just people. They're just people, just like any other people who's messed up.
Right, right.
Everybody messed up. It is a person on the planet that don't need Jesus.
But that's the one thing that you said, Larry, that having the mindset of God. Because without that, we can be on the polar opposite of the spectrum on any subject.
Right. Right.
We can be all for this or all for that.
Right.
Take Paul for example. Man, Paul thought everything he did. Hey, I'm doing right. I'm going to get letters. I'm going to go back.
Kill him.
I'm going to
doing
kill
it for
him.
God, right?
But when he had that transformation on Damascus Road,
All right.
now he sees things differently.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because now he
His
has
eyes were
that
done open.
mind of Christ, like you said,
Yeah, but
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Even like you
Now-
were talking with Carlton Pierce, and how he was, heavy on his way here, and then all of a sudden he had a falling out and blah blah this, blah blah that. Now he's going, he met these folks and the gays, lesbian, LGBT people, and he never felt so much love. Now that just drew him to the polar
That side of
opposite,
the fence.
to the polar opposite of what he's been talking about. Still, he hadn't had that mind of Christ for that misunderstanding.
Right.
right.
We and that's what we have to, like you say, get into God's word, find out, like you say, pump the brakes, park the car, and really delve into what God is saying now.
Right.
Because we just go by this here, like you
Right.
say, we can find any justifiable reason
Yeah.
for what we talking about.
Right.
What we do.
And,
Right.
and it could be either to the far
Left.
left or to the far right.
Yeah.
Nowhere
Yeah.
in the middle, right?
None.
When is this movie?
What is it?
You said you got a movie coming
so-
out?
It's already out. It's already out. It's on Netflix. It's a Netflix movie. It's called Come Sunday or something other Sunday.
Because he was
Before
on the
Sunday or
George
Come Sunday,
Bloomer
something.
show one night. I was flipping through the channel, but I didn't get the beginning of what
Yeah.
he was talking about.
It's an interesting movie, but I'm only saying it because there's so much that because I'm still stuck on 2 Timothy 2 about in meekness instructing those who oppose themselves who are taken captive by Satan at his will. I'm still there in my mind a lot because folks just need to know, and I know it's a work of God. I understand that you can't do God. You cannot do God.
Right.
I don't care how hard you try, how much you want to do God. You cannot do God. God do Himself through you.
Yes, he does.
He has to do what He wants to do, or can do, or going to do, what He planned to do.
Right.
We're His workmanship. We ain't our own workmanship. We're His workmanship. This is why learning contentment is critical too, because you can find yourself discontented in all kinds of areas of life if you don't believe God really ordering your footsteps. If you really don't believe God really knows where you're going tomorrow and what He wants to do with you tomorrow. Not what you want to do, but what He wants to do.
Yeah.
And it just takes a lot of changing of our minds to settle down and to agree with Him that He actually is in charge and in control. But the love factor for people become the ultimate key. Even when you're reading 1 John again about all these commandments, I write a new commandment under you. Now, again, we mentioned it yesterday. When you think about the word commandment, you think about a rule. Don't do, whatever. It's a rule. It's a command. You got to do this. But the command is to love. That's the command. To
Right.
love.
Yeah.
To love. That's the
greatest
command. See? So when you want to make a stand against somebody or some group or some action someone taking, you better be walking in love. You better know what love is and what love look like and trying to reach them, minister to them or talk to them about whatever the fault that they're in. You best be walking in love when you're dealing with that issue. Don't be mad, poking off, pointing at the scripture and telling what the Bible say. That ain't love. Anybody receiving that?
Because they don't know.
They not only don't it stir up rebellion in people. It stir up a fight. You ain't gonna win nobody.
No.
Matter of fact, Jesus told Peter that about if we offend them, we can't win them.
Right.
You forget it, but once offense comes, ain't no winning.
Hurt him. You don't hurt
Ain't
him.
no winning.
Yeah.
They
Forget
done
it.
shut down now.
Yep.
Shut down, fight. Shields up. All that stuff.
That's
It
right.
ain't happening.
Yes,
It's
sir.
not happening. And the adversary knows this. He knows this.
Yeah.
So it behoove us to walk in wisdom. It would behoove us to ask God for wisdom in every situation.
And you know what? And if you look at the how Christ dealt with everybody, no matter what their situation was, he met their need first.
Yeah.
He always met their need first. Because if he didn't meet the need, you think everybody gonna listen? No. If somebody is in pain or somebody's, somebody probably dying, if he knows Christ healed them first, gave them back life, gave them back their sight, then they
And he
won't
said, come
listen.
follow me.
You know, they come follow. How many times
Yeah.
when he's sitting up there on the mountain trying to, what was that when he fed the 5,000? Even the apostles said, Master, it's getting late. He said, he's gonna wait. They can go get some meat. Send them away. I got something to say.
Yeah.
So before we said,
Let's feed him.
let's feed them first. Count up what you got. Bring what you got. Multiply. Everybody ate to the point where you had much took up the leftover.
Yes.
Now, let me say this about that. Because this is another trick. This is another trick of the adversary. If you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, if you don't agree that God's leading you, you can take that very example. Because that's an example of those who will come to the Lord and say, Lord, Lord, did we not do in your name? In that example. Right? They're going to say, Lord, we did these things. And why did you do it? That becomes the question.
Yeah.
They say, God, we did everything in your name. You said, no, the prophet never knew you're working with iniquity. How am I working iniquity when I know you want to feed the people? I know you want to visit folks in jail. I know you want to feed the hungry and go in Africa and get all these kids. I know that's you. That's what you want me to do. So how did I miss the mark doing what you told me to do? You found it's a good question. It's the right answer. You find what I'm saying? So your jaw's dropping, you're shocked because you don't know. I did what you told me to do. So why am I condemned? And I did it. The record is, got the proof.
Yeah.
And you know the funny thing is, I knew you were gonna come with that.
All right.
And see, that's why I tell you. That's why I limit my example to Christ.
There you go. Right, but you see, so Christ had to be the one. You have to understand
Right.
the relationship
There you
is
go.
first. The relationship is first. He had a relationship with his father first.
Yep.
And he was able to do what his father told him to do.
Absolutely.
Right? He didn't leave his father out of it. And he went and did it.
Yep.
Right?
'Cause he
And
said-
back to the guy that said, ask the apostle. The guy who was following the apostles around. No, that's the lady. But the guy who wanted to buy the Holy Spirit.
Oh, Simon.
Simon,
the
the sorcerer, right?
Yeah.
What I want to buy this gift because I can do what your guys doing. You find no relationship with God the Father.
None.
Right.
I want to do what you're doing, but I ain't, leave God out of this. Let's just do this. Let's just leave relationship. Let's just don't start at the head. Don't start at the top. Start to know someone else, and then go forth and do. And that's a power. What I'm saying now is it's more power than we really think about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that is the problem. Because you're doing all what God, you don't know Him.
Right.
You're following His commandments. You think you're doing it, but you don't know Him.
And that's exactly why Christ tell him,
Man,
I and the Father am one. When you see me, you see the Father. You see the Father.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
establishing the relationship.
and right here in the third
kept
chapter,
you quiet all day.
and
That ain't-
I was thinking about the world word that you were
Asking?
talking about.
Okay.
But before I go there, what you and Maurice are saying is very powerful, because the same reason that you didn't do it
Want me to warm that?
I'm talking.
can become a part, well, it is the same reason that you did do it, and it doesn't count for nothing.
Say it again, Mom. I wasn't paying attention.
I said the same reason that you didn't do it is exactly the same reason that you did do it, and it doesn't count for anything. is right here in 1 John 3. He said, but in verse 17, whoso hath this world's good, and seeth his brother have need, and shutteth up his bowels of compassion from him, how dwelleth the love of God in him? Well, the obvious answer is, it isn't.
Right.
So even when you do something, even as this person didn't do something, and it doesn't count for anything, it's because the love of God was not dwelling in you, moving you into doing this thing.
Gotcha.
I
You
see.
did it for
That's the
your
works.
own selfish reason.
Yeah.
The guy, remember the guy was,
even a lack of understanding.
Yeah, but that too.
Of the word, of
Yeah.
what God is
I
actually
see
saying.
Yeah, exactly. Well, in even your lack of understanding, it bodes that you are working on your own.
Right.
And really, let's go a little deeper. You're actually working on the world. Love not the world. And this word employs almost everything. The creation, the cosmos, everything.
Right.
But the word has a sense of it when it's set in order. It even has a sense of you adorning yourself or dressing yourself in it. That you get dressed up with the world,
Right.
and Christ can't be seen through that.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
It was
Yeah.
a worldly mindset.
Exactly. And he goes right in there, for all that is in the world, this is what you're dressed with now.
Yeah. Lots of
The lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, this is not of the Father, but is of the world. And
Yeah.
all that's in the Father is his love. So when you're not doing it, it's obvious that the love of the Father is not in you. But when you are doing it and you're dressed in the world, only God can determine this now. Because here's where the tricky part comes. Because everybody's going to be hollering, oh, he's so good. Oh, she's so great. Look at what he does for the people. He give much alms. All these different things. They told Jesus, this man is worthy for you to go heal his son because he gives much alms to the people. But see, only Jesus knew and understood the consideration, hey, babe, of why this guy was doing it. He was seeking for God through all of this. He understood the commandments and all these different things, but in the heart and in the foundation of what he was doing, he was looking for God's love to be revealed to him. He ain't doing this so he can get all that stuff that they were talking about. No. But when you are the love of the world, your whole adornment, your whole dress, your whole order, if you will, because that's what this word has implied to it, that you're completely engulfed in it, that your whole mindset is dressed in it, you know. But he gives the contrast. He said, if any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. And here in 1 John, you see that word used a lot. There are two different tenses and aspects of how he's using this word love. One is an action, the other is an appropriation. One is you getting it, the other is you action and putting out from it. And that's what he's saying here. Love not the world. Don't let your action of what you're doing portray that you're dressed in the world system. Because if you do, the love of the Father, what you have and showing to everybody, is not God's love. That's why he can say this over in this other verse, that the love of God don't dwell in you because of the way that your appropriation is. You know, and that's a powerful thing.
Because the world, as long as you're doing good, the world loves you.
Yeah.
It's when you do wrong is when they turn against you. Like, oh,
Yeah. Well, yes, when you do godly. I mean,
Yeah,
real
turn to
godliness
God. That's when they-
is when they
yeah,
turn
they
against
your
you.
life around,
You can do a whole
right?
bunch of things, and the world will love you to death, so to speak, or rather to life.
Yeah.
But when you start showing the love of God, and this is the powerful aspect of it, when you start showing them the right way to God, When you start saying your path is not right. After you've taken care of the needs, showing that the love of God dwelleth in you, that you have appropriated by God's grace His love. Now you're fulfilling the need and also giving them the answer to the problem. And that answer is Jesus Christ. And you're not getting there correctly the way that you're going. You can't get there by living your life the way you are. I'm sorry.
But you know what? That's interesting, because in John chapter 6, when Jesus did meet the need,
Yeah.
and then after he met the need, he began to speak to them of who he was.
Yes.
And he said, except you eat my flesh and drink my blood,
Yes.
you have no part in this thing.
Yeah.
And the scripture said from that time, many disciples went away and walked no more with him.
Yeah.
Because he did meet the need, but he also told them the truth.
The truth. Yes.
After meeting the need,
And-
and
and-
people can't
yeah.
handle the truth.
Yeah.
They ain't interested in the truth. They're interested in what they want.
Yeah.
And except God moving in your heart and say, "Oh, come on back here. I got something for you.
Yeah.
You know,
Amen.
I got a word for you."
Yeah. You see it all throughout Israel as God deals with them. And we were studying one morning, and I realized something about what God was dealing with them with the deportation into Babylon. He was wiping something out of them. And the thing that he was wiping out of them was idolatry. One of the, if you could put a number on it, that's probably numero uno, the biggest one. Because with idolatry, you are attributing to God that which he is not. You're not given a true representation of who he is. So idolatry don't have to be a statue or golden calves or anything. Idolatry could be the way you think about God. You live in that. And you're not given. He said, I'm going to wipe that out of you.
Well, that's the first commandment.
Yeah.
In Exodus 20, that's the first commandment. But loving God.
Yes, sir.
But, I'm not like God who put the other land of Egypt.
Yeah.
Or the house of bondage, thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Yeah.
Period.
Everything else is based
Everything
on
else,
that.
Right. Everything else is based on that.
On a
That's it.
correct understanding of who God is.
Yes.
Yeah. You
Yes.
can't portray him right if you don't understand that, first and foremost. When you look at Israel today, even in their disbelief, and believe you me, part of that disbelief is based on what God is doing.
Yes.
And I believe in Romans 9, he says blindness has happened in part to Israel
Right.
for another purpose.
Right.
But they don't deal with idolatry anymore.
Yeah.
You can't find nobody in Israel talking about
Our God.
another God. You can forget it. Because God said that's what I'm going to do. When y'all come back from this exile, y'all will not be talking that type of stuff no more. You can forget it. And from that time on, they haven't done it. And he's doing something with us in the same parallel, that all of what our thought process is about God, I even believe in Christ Church here, he's kind of wiping all of that out. This stuff that you take for the letter.
Right. Right.
See, you really don't understand. I need to give you a clear understanding of
Right.
what I'm saying.
That's all. That's all
When I
we're
say
talking
this,
about here
yeah.
this morning. Is the
Amen.
reality of getting beyond the letter of the word and
Yeah.
getting into the spirit of God.
Yeah.
And because that's exactly what he's doing. He's getting us
Yeah.
to understand him personally,
Yeah.
right up in his face,
Yeah.
way beyond what's in the scriptures. That he is our life.
Yeah.
But he's a living life now,
Period.
and we relying on, depending on him in a living way, and not in a written way.
Yeah.
Not going to find a verse
Yeah.
or a chapter or a scripture
Yeah.
to get some understanding, but to literally go right in his face. That's
Yeah.
why he told me a long time ago when he said, in the psalm, he spoke to me about guiding you with my eyes. He said, look me face to face.
Yeah.
Get in my face. Look at me, and I'm gonna guide you in there. Forget this.
Yeah.
Not in the memories in a way, but go beyond this. Because this will trap you. This
Yeah.
will snare you. This is where a lot of folks are at, and they're snared and trapped by what they think God meant by what he said, what they think God is doing. And they got a verse in the scripture to show you this is why he said what he said, and that ain't God. That's not his heart, that is not his mind, that is not his way.
Yeah.
And so he's bringing us to a place of understanding that, really understanding that.
Yeah.
So now we can be very comfortable with, with him dealing with us the way he is. And also he's beginning to tell us right now where we started at. But now that you're learning these things, you're knowing these things, be wise in how you appropriate them and how you go out and tell others. because you don't want to trip somebody else up with your knowledge and with what I've shared with you.
Right.
Yes.
So let's go back to June
Go get them. Okay.
and dancing, because
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
So when do you divide the line of saying, I'm going to help this weaker person out by not doing that, as opposed to saying, I'm going to take my liberty? Where's the dividing line between those two things?
Okay, I like that question.
Yeah,
I knew you
it's
had
a powerful question,
Yeah, I
because
know you
we
had it
can
when
go
we
to the
started
book
this
of Acts,
conversation.
and Paul, when they came back to Jerusalem, when he was directed to go shave himself and present himself to the priest because of all of the different things that were going on, and then they took Titus with them. And the Judaizers came and said, he ain't circumcised.
Right.
Y'all need to circumcise him. And Paul said, no way. We're not doing that. He said, we didn't give space to them, not even for a moment, just because they got a problem
Right.
with what they see. So where's the dividing line for that? So you can go and dance and feel good about it without a problem, but then there's that rascal over there.
Who's not going to understand
That's
your
Satan.
liberty.
Yeah.
Who's not going to understand your
Say,
liberty.
what you say you're a Christian, what are you doing out here dancing?
Yeah.
What's your problem? Or even going to the liquor store for that matter.
Yeah.
Or doing a whole lot of things.
Yeah.
Some would say. Again, it comes back to, in my opinion, and what I believe God would say is it comes to your relationship with God and the atmosphere where He has you right now.
Okay.
Where you have to be discerning enough to talk to your, or be in relation with your Father enough to be able to discern what He wants you to do or not do. What's appropriate right now in this setting? Is it appropriate now for me to express my liberty, or do I put myself on hold and I eat this meat because I'm going to get somebody, a weaker brother, because I can eat the meat, but he don't understand the meat. You know what I mean? So let me just leave that alone. That comes from a person would have to be able to listen to God, to let you know. God may want to say, eat the meat so I can show them, so I can give you an opportunity to speak to them and explain to them
that's exactly
why you able to eat the meat.
Yeah, there you go.
Or they're not there yet.
Yeah.
So leave the meat alone.
Yeah.
That answer had to come from the Spirit of
Yeah.
God. That's in you. That answer had to come from the Holy Ghost.
Exactly.
And you had to be in touch with Him, walking with Him close enough to be able to hear Him.
Yeah.
And not being yourself and your own. You got to answer yourself the question when you're doing it.
Exactly.
God, is this now or this later?
Yeah.
You have to do that.
Yeah.
Unless you just walk in your own understanding.
Yeah, I have a comment, but go ahead, Doc,
Go ahead.
because I saw you raise your hand.
And God also said, Paul, in his word, that I became all things
To all men.
people,
Right.
so that Christ might be one. So
Yeah.
if what I'm doing is going to trip this person up, then I need to consider that.
Right.
And that
Right.
will open the door for a conversation.
Right.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So it goes back again to you individually.
Yeah.
We have to be in touch, and that's what God's doing here. He's telling us right up.
Yeah.
Y'all need
Yeah.
to be in touch.
Yeah.
Not you, not Pastor Curtis, not just all of y'all.
Yeah.
You need to understand
Exactly.
how I move and how I'm doing.
Yeah.
And y'all need to agree with me together.
Right.
And do what I'm telling you to do.
Right.
Right now, at this time, at this place.
Yeah.
And then if we understand that and agree with that,
Yeah.
we can easily love our brothers and our sisters who may be doing something that we don't have understanding about right now. If I know you know him like I know him, I can't be questioning you and challenging what God telling you to do. It's just like Peter saying, what should this man do? You say, none of your business. You do what I tell you to do.
Yeah.
You know, I got this. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, it is. And again, if you just going off of this and not really asking God what is discerning about this, because there's so many examples in there that can trip you up and mess your head up. You know, Paul was really stern with Peter when they were in there in Antioch, and he separated himself